Well, hello. Good evening. It is that time again for Life's Co-Pilot expert panel. Today we have Mike Elkins on, which I'm real excited about because Mike's been doing a lot of interesting things here of late. Mike's owner of Elkin Financial Group, but he's been doing this thing called Navigating Life's Transitions in seminar series designed to provide information, education, resources to pre-retirees and retirees on those areas of our lives where we can encounter as we age, basically. The topics will cover a lot of different areas. So basically, Mike's been out trying to do something that we're doing here on Life's Copilot, where we're trying to bring solid information, not stuff from your brother's uncle's barber, but we're going to get you information from experts in the field on all kinds of different senior topics. Mike, I'm going to let you introduce yourself and who you are and what you do to make money, and then
Sure.
also um, what you're doing with the senior educational series.
Well, thanks, Jim. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to everybody tonight and talk a little bit about what we do. Mike Elkin with Elkin Financial Group. We are a life, health, and annuity insurance agency. I have about 10 agents that I work with, and I currently represent 14 different states in North America, United States on that. We put the company together. This is our 10th year now, actually working with folks. And I have really had an opportunity to help people, uh, help families build people and better lives. I mean, that's really kind of my focus with a lot of this. And it is something that I believe that I can do this the rest of my life. I had a career with IBM for a little while, for about 20 years. I started out as a broker, stockbroker, early on out of college, and now I'm just enjoying the life, health, and annuity side of this. I think the most areas that we focus in on is that we believe, retirement should be something that you look forward to and not have to stress over. So we take the confusion out of Medicare with a lot of the things that we do. That's kind of our focus is health insurance. Pre-retirees and retirees is the target market that we have. And focus on education with individuals. So, like you, we've met through some of the networking that we've done together, other businesses in the community, and that has given us, because we focus so much on that trusted advisor kind of moniker. And I really enjoy getting out in front and helping people with these because the more we work with folks, the more we realize is that we all have some great services to offer, but planning and understanding life's transitions is the key to uh, having a better retirement, and that's really kind of what created that whole navigating life's transition series.
Yeah, it gets that's one of the things that we find with the different with like your series with what we're doing here on Life's Copilot. What I do for a living is I help people downsize with caring transitions, and many times I'm doing so many things for that client that have nothing to do with me whatsoever or carry transitions, but I'm getting them hooked up with an elder law attorney. I'm getting them hooked up with maybe even a geriatric care manager. I might be getting them hooked up to, maybe somebody with Medicare or Medicaid or whatever. Then I've got like for instance, I'm moving a lady from Florida, and all we're going to do is unpack her. I found her a realtor in Florida. I found her a caring transitionist in Florida to pack her and move her and sell off all her stuff. So what we do for her is the smallest part of the whole job, but we got her moved, right? So it's the same kind of thing, and that's why these programs like you're doing are so important because as a consumer for the senior stuff, it's very difficult to find all those people and know all those people even exist. A lot of these programs you don't even I never knew until I got into it professionally that even people did some of the things that they do.
Right. Exactly. I've learned so much from some of the folks that I've been involved with, and the opportunities for different topics just keeps expanding. So we've done several seminar series. We've moved it around. to different locations here in Indianapolis to try to reach a broader audience of folks, and all of them are free. It is something that we want people to attend and be able to get the information. And it's just like you said, I am kind of the MC or the master of ceremonies with a lot of this stuff. I kick it off. We talk a little bit about our business and what we do, but it's really more about introducing the people within our network of folks. And I really enjoy having that opportunity whenever somebody says, "Hey, I'm looking for somebody who could maybe come in and work on our house. We've got a handyman. I could really use somebody who knows a little bit more about assisted living and independent living. I know we're going to have to make some of those decisions, and it's like I got a couple of guys. What side of town do you need? You know,
Right.
and it's all of those types of relationships that we're building. And the more we can get out in front of folks and help them plan, I think the better it's going to be for everybody.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing. I think your programs. We started off doing them live, and then we started doing them online during COVID, and then I've found that audience. I'm getting we're getting, like, for instance, this video on average each one of these over about a week's period of time. It takes some time for the Facebook Live to really, I think we've teach people that they don't have to attend anything live anymore. But anyway, but it's we probably get about 1,000 views over a week or 10 days. So we're getting the word out, and
Yeah.
that's really what it's all about, is trying to get that word out. So what do you? So you've obviously had some of these. How many of these? How long have you been doing this? Is that what? Is it a monthly deal?
So the series just kind of started last year. Well, actually, it was a brainchild the year before that, but we really wanted to focus more on a seminar series. Um, my primary business is Medicare sales. I work with folks with Medicare supplement plans, Medicare Advantage plans, prescription drug plans, and it's a battle each year as we get into that annual enrollment period between October 15th and December 7th of who's going to control the airwaves in the advertising time. It's either going to be the Medicare folks or it's going to be the politicians if there's an election that year going on. So what we have seen is that there's so many phone calls that people have. There's so much direct mail. We thought the seminar series would be a way to get above the noise of some of this and really put us in a position where folks could meet us, see us face to face, be able to ask questions directly without feeling the pressure that they had to talk to somebody that they didn't know. Are they being scammed? It just had a lot of pressure on folks that we were able to relieve by having these types of seminars. So as we saw that building for what we were doing in the Medicare space, it really was a type of thing. It's like, we could advance this out because I run into people all the time that don't have a will or an estate plan. Or I've got folks that are just stressed out. They can't meet with me in their house because they're unorganized and they just don't feel right about it, and they need to get somebody in there to do that. So really, we put together some items that we thought, what are some of the things that as people age, um, what are they going to run into? And this was kind of built off of one of the foundations of our business, and it was always one of those that, there are a ton of people that are helping you get to the top of the mountain in retirement. There are very few people that are there to help you get down the mountain. And I like to tell them, it's like, hey, coming down the mountain, that's where 75 to 85% of the deaths occur with people because they made it to the top, but they didn't have somebody there to help them get down. And so I really want to focus on making sure that people have the resources and have the education and the knowledge to be able to make those choices. We focus on healthcare primarily because it is 75% of the time, whenever somebody is facing a bankruptcy, it's because they've made the wrong decision around a healthcare solution. And people understand it whenever they're in a pre-retiree phase. So we work with a lot of folks who say, I'm not 65 yet, but I really want to start that retirement process. The only thing I need to figure out is how I'm going to make my healthcare work. So we really focused in on that As I mentioned, I had about a 20-year career with IBM. I was a consultant. I did a lot of planning with folks and helping them put together business recovery plans for their business. Everybody knew me as that. They didn't know me as a life insurance person. And the transactional side of the health insurance helped give me the trust and to be able to work with them on some of the things that we could do with the life insurance. We primarily use life insurance and annuities for the long-term care that folks need. That's another planning area. Long-term care insurance is gotten kind of a bad reputation for costing a lot of money, and it's one of those things that I don't know if I'm going to need it or not. Well, now there are a lot of hybrids that we work with through annuities and life insurance itself that we can provide riders for those programs, and if you need it, it's there for you to use. And if you don't need it, then you've got something that you can pass on to a beneficiary or somebody, a loved one, as a legacy gift for that. So those are just some of the things that we looked at how health insurance was able to um, be a primary focus for us to be able to help folks with those big decisions that they've got.
On your series, you've been doing it, say, for about a year or so.
Yep, we started. Actually, I was looking back at some of my notes today. We actually had our first um, Navigating Life's Transition series in February of 2025.
What kind of topics have you broached on that?
So we have done several. We started out with a lot of the Medicare because we were still in that open enrollment period whenever we did that. So uh, Medicare 101, um, being able to identify the different areas of Medicare to take advantage of some of the ancillary services that are out there. And then we moved into organizing and aging happily with less stuff. That was a topic that we had. Aging in place using technology was another topic that we were able to bring forward. That was using like Hey Google or Alexa or any of the other types of services out there, video cameras that are available, just a lot of technology that will be able to help a person um, age in place. That's something that's really important to folks as they get older. They're, home is where they're comfortable. That's where they want to be able to spend the most time. And we actually brought a seminar together that talked a little bit about how you can use some of those technologies to do that. With the technology, always comes up the scams and fraud that's out there. So we did a whole series across that on how to avoid scams and what to be able to look for from a fraud standpoint with folks. So we did a whole program with that, and I had this great gal that she just works off a couple of note cards, and she does with the Indiana uh, Council on Aging, I believe, is who she works with, and she did a great job of just talking about different cases that she's had, different events that are out there, and she really connected with a lot of folks to be able to talk about that because I've found, even with my father, that technology is just one of those things that it has kind of taken over. We've gone from where you used to be able to look up a phone number in the phone book or be able to have information that was there at your fingertips on paper, and a whole generation of folks like to use that. They like to pick up the phone because that was just how things were. Whenever a call came in, you picked it up and answered it. And now the technology has gotten to the point where there aren't phone books anymore. If you want to look something up, you got to get on the internet. Well, all they know about the internet is that's a place where people lose their identity and how they get scammed with things. So it is one of those areas that I've even stepped into a role that AARP has called Senior Planet, become a trainer, a certified trainer with them, and we're going to be offering a lot more events around some of the things with technology and what AARP has with their uh, broad book of different topics. And we'll be starting that up at the Carmel Library later this spring. Start sometime in April, May.
So, what do you have coming up on your horizon of different presentations, when,
Well, there
where,
are
and what.
still there are still 10,000 people that are turning 65 every day.
Correct.
I'm at the tail end of that baby boom generation. I am 62, so I'm right there at the end, and we'll ride this wave all the way into the beach on that. So there are folks that need to have information about Medicare. It is completely different than any other health insurance that you've used while you were under 65, whether it's group insurance or individual insurance on that. So we do just a Medicare 101. We're calling it Medicare and Meatballs. We're doing some dinner time or evening time education pieces. We're partnered up with Centerwell, who's a local senior primary care provider here in Indianapolis for that. So we're working with them. They've got a nice space that we can invite people in and be able to work with them through their facility, and it's partnered up with another agent that works with me. Her name's Vonda Granger, and we kind of tag team the discussion points on that and break down what Medicare is. What are the different elements of it? What are the different options that you have to be able to talk about that? So that'll be coming up. We've got our first one tomorrow night, and then we've got a couple scheduled each month, sprinkled out. And then we're still working with folks on what are some of the holes in Medicare. That Medicare itself has some things that it doesn't uh, take advantage of. Short-term care is one of the things that Medicare kind of lacks with it. Of course, it does a little bit of long-term care, but there are other things that you can do with long-term care that you need to have as part of that. And then there are also areas that you have co-payments and other things with some of the Medicare Advantage plans that we talk to folks about hospital indemnity plans. So we'll talk about those series. There's also, I think you had Bill Higgins on uh, maybe a couple of weeks ago.
Recently, yeah.
Yeah, recently. And Bill, somebody that we work with, mental health is something that is really a big important part of some of what the Medicare Advantage plans have on that. So we'll talk about how to use those services with mental health and have Bill talk a little bit about that. So again, we're really trying to leverage the folks that we work with and how our products work. So that is another area that we've got. And then as we look forward with into the summertime, we'll have another homeowners. Should I stay or should I go? Talking about that, we'll have uh, assisted and independent living options. We'll have wills and estate planning. That's always seems to be a popular topic with folks as they get into the different areas about that. And final expense and reverse mortgages. Those are all topics that we'll cover as well. I think I heard from one of the reverse mortgage guys that our nation is sitting on about $17 trillion in assets. That a
Right.
lot of people are saying, I don't know what to do with my property taxes. I'm on a fixed income. I don't know what to do. And maybe maybe reverse mortgage might be an option for those
Well,
folks.
they're
And we'll talk about
greatly
that.
misunderstood. I come from a real estate background. I've been trying to get realtors to pay attention to them for a long time, okay? Because they're not what people think they are. I mean, you can actually purchase a home with a reverse mortgage. You
That's
put
right.
50% down and never have a payment. But I end up going into one a couple years ago, or just a few years ago, because I kept running the math. I'd always told my wife if something happened to me, I wanted her to do it. And I finally went, well, why don't we just do it? So anyway, I ran the math through, and the way I kept running the math with the interest rates were higher than I liked at the time, but even at that rate, we were not going to run out of equity with just 2% inflation. Okay, I
Hmm.
wasn't getting aggressive with that until I was in my 90s. And if I don't take, and I don't take any money out, I just let it sit there and it becomes a HELOC or a home equity line of credit.
Yep.
But if I take out, I don't have payments on it because it goes into reverse, right? But if I leave it alone, it grows at the same interest rate that I'm paying on the loan. So
Hmm.
I will, at the end of at 90, if I don't touch it, I've got 300 and some $1,000 there to
Hmm.
use. for if I need to put a new roof on, if the property taxes get completely out of kilter, if I need money to get an in-home care for one of us, that kind of stuff. That's kind of a bank account for that. So I kept running the math, and I couldn't find any reason why not to do it. But most people don't know that you can do all those things.
Right. And I think that's because it's a misunderstood product again, kind of like a long-term care product. It
Right,
it kind of had a bad reputation with it. It's been shored up. They've learned. They've put some elements around it that make it very attractive. And even to the point, I would say a majority of our referrals come out of managed money guys, people that are uh, helping people put money away from for the retirement, get them to the top of the mountain, and then they'll sit there and say, "Hey, I have got my Medicare that I need to start here. What do you know about that?" And they're like, I don't know anything about that."
right.
And so we've been working with a lot of the managed money guys to introduce ourselves, give them an opportunity to learn more about that, and refer us on that. And then, you know, I think we have a good message that we can come in and just kind of sit down with them, talk through that, have the reverse mortgage talk with them on that basis as well, because those are, in the right situation, right scenario, it's a good option for some folks that they just don't know about. So,
Well, one thing I know that right now I can see one of our guests that's watching right now is a realtor. And so I come from a real estate background. But one of the things I was going to say, I've often recommended to realtors, especially if they're wanting to deal with that, what you're talking about, 10,000 65-year-olds a day. Okay. If you're trying to get into that market, then educate yourself, learn about these different programs and services that are out there that will support that client, because you may not be the person that can do it, but if you know what an elder law attorney does, and you know what they can do with a Miller's trust or with an irrevocable trust, and what that can mean, if I'm throwing words out there that you don't know, then that's a clue that you might want to start going to these
yeah.
things and learning some of this stuff so that you can be a resource, a trusted resource. You may not be the one that solves the problem, but you can say, hey, you might want to look into this, you might want to look into
Hmm.
that, because it's going to make that client not only trust you, be grateful to you, but also you might be freeing up finances for them to be able to do things that they didn't have any idea they could do.
Yep. I agree. A lot of people don't know that one of the areas that I'm certified in, I'm a certified senior advisor, and that's one of the areas that we work with. There are 7 different disciplines that we focus on. So, Social Security, healthcare are some of those, and then really getting into other areas with that, so that we can make a recommendation with folks. So it's this continuing education itself that I have to keep up with to be able to maintain that certification, but it's something that again, so many people can just kind of throw up a shingle and say, I'm in business on this, but we really want to take that next step and help differentiate ourselves that we really are a trusted advisor to be able to work with you in a lot of different areas. Maybe it's not an area that we focus primarily as an expertise, but we do vet and have you work with people that we know, like, and trust as well. And I think that's
Right.
really the differentiator on things. I think a huge group that we have started doing a lot more work with, and this started late last year. We really got more involved with some of the veterans in the area. A lot of the folks that I meet with on a regular basis are doing some assisted living. Some of them are doing the in-home care, and we started to recognize that just how many people don't understand what some of the services and benefits are for veterans that are out there, whether their spouse. I kind of got I don't know if you remember that scene where Forrest Gump is playing ping pong in the gym, and the guy comes in and says, "Hey, got your papers. You're no longer in the army." It's like, doesn't mean I can't play ping pong anymore. He's like, not for the army. And then he
Yeah.
takes off running. And that was about that be it. That was the transition meeting of all the things that were available to him. And I think that's the way a lot of people look at it sometimes. It's like they got that honorable discharge, they were let go, and now all of a sudden they're not in the army, but they don't know what some of those services and what of the benefits are that have. So we've found a lot of good references here in the city of Indianapolis with the Veterans Administration and being able to work with those folks. We've worked with folks that didn't know they had aid and attendance. That was something that they could be able to take advantage of as a veteran. We've talked to spouses that have different needs, education pieces of it. There's just a ton. I had a whole booklet that I picked up and was passing out to be able to work with folks on that. And so we started a series because some of the health care needs are a little bit different for veterans than what they are the general population. So that is an area that we really started working with their families on last year as well. And it's a group that whenever you get their attention, you gain their trust. They'll listen to you. But again, there's a lot of folks sometimes that I think it kind of comes from being in the military. You know, you got to be careful what you volunteer for sometimes. So
Yeah.
they they they've been able to warm up to us a little bit, and I think we're making some inroads there because there are different groups that we're working with, either the Veterans Administration, the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars. Those are all folks that we have supported and done some work with them. And I think the more time we spend, the more we'll be able to work with them on a lot of different education pieces as well.
Well, it's a
So,
very needed situation because statistically I've heard that a high percentage of people who qualify for aid and attendance don't get it because even if they know about it, because they try to turn the paperwork in and they get rejected. And it's so frustrating working with the VA on this. I know my personal experience when I was dealing with it with my father-in-law. We needed it to help them, pay for their assisted living and what have you. And 18 straight months of rejections. We just kept getting, dings back in the mail because we didn't dot this I right or this cross this T right or whatever the deal was.
hmm
And in fact, I think my father-in-law had passed, but we still needed the money for my mother-in-law. And I ended up getting mad and my son was the campaign manager for our local congressman. So I called to see if he could help us. And within 24 hours, we had the money. I'm going, you shouldn't need to know a congressman to get
right,
this done.
right.
When my uncle, when I was dealing with him, I made a call to an elder law attorney. And within, a week, we had the VA in attendance in because he knew how to package it to put it in front of them the first time and have it done, right? And that was worth their weight in gold. But I mean that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was like I don't know almost $2,500 a month that was helping pay for his, and you could use that for in-home care. You can use it for a lot of different things to age at home if you wanted to, and it's money that belongs to these veterans. They've earned it, but
hmm
they may not know how to get it. And an elder law attorney or somebody that's a veteran specialist that can help them guide dot those I's and cross those T's.
Yeah, another area and group that we work with in the Medicare space, there is something known as a dual eligible special needs plan. And that is set up for people that are on Medicare and Medicaid. And Medicaid, whenever you brought up some of the work that is needed with folks, a lot of times you've got a family that is responding in kind of a crisis mode a lot of times and being able to talk about being able to get mom into a nursing facility or something like that, and their only option is to be able to do a spend down quickly and work with Medicaid. Well, we've got several people that we work with that know that process. We are trying, and I think that's something that we're going to be expanding into more this coming year in working with people who are sometimes the children that are helping with the parents and letting them know about some of these services because they're the ones that are helping make that decision with mom or dad, and they don't have any clue about some of the things that are available. So I think our focus for this year is to really help encourage people more to get engaged, to do more with us as a group on these seminar series to learn more about what those options are. Because when you've spent a little time planning for it, you have a lot of options, a lot of great
Oh yeah.
options. But if dad falls in the parking lot and suddenly, he's kind of in a position where he's got to go and you've never had the conversation, well, now you're in a total crisis mode and they come to us and it's like, well, there are not a lot of options. I mean, you kind of uh, get what you can get whenever you're working on some of those areas. And that's where we put together um, a document called What My Loved Ones Need to Know. And this really helps people make space for the discussion. What My Loved Ones Need to Know is a document that I created after my mom passed away suddenly. She had lived in Florida. My sister lived in Virginia. I lived in Indianapolis. And we flew down to her house and we were trying to pull together um, what she was involved in, what were things that were going on. Again, living that far away, sometimes it's hard to know day to day what some of the challenges are. But my mom was very good at writing things down in her calendar, and through that, we got through the process of trying to figure out and put things together for her estate and make all of that work. But I said, it would have been a lot easier if we would have had a document or something that we could work from so that we knew where her, what bank accounts she had, what life insurance she had, what um, doctors or anybody that she was seeing on this, and so that was kind of the brainchild for this. And it really does set the table for a lot of this planning. And I use it in one of my workshops that I've got. It'll be a workshop that'll be coming up this year that helps people go through because it's one thing to have a plan. It's another thing, or at least a document for a plan. It's kind of like setting up a trust, but you never fund the trust. It's like, okay, well, I got all that put together, but yeah, you never put anything into it with that. So what my loved ones need to know is a document that I kind of refer to as a checklist. It's like, use this. Everybody should have one themselves. It'll have information about you, and it's got a space in there that you can put your personal wishes of how you'd like to have your funeral or final wishes, or how, in your own writing, how you want to put this together so that there's no debate. And sometimes, whenever you've got an estate that you're working with, when it comes to money, people get funny and it really rears its ugly head whenever you're dealing with some of those family sessions as they're going through things, which I'm sure you have seen firsthand as you're going through that. So we put this program together. I think it'll be an area that families can use it to come together, have more discussion about it in a safe space, because really it is the best time to have those type of discussions when everybody's calm. It's not an emergency. You're not uh, thinking about well, what your calendar looks like or anything. So we usually encourage it around the holidays, Christmas time, whenever families are typically together, and be able to have those talks. And it kind of takes the pressure off. It's like, we're not saying we need to put you anyplace, but here's a topic here in this book that talks about long-term care. What type of long-term care have you thought about, mom or dad? And how would that look like? I mean, there's a couple of different options that when we describe that in the book itself, it does have some dialogue that goes with it that you can have a discussion about it. And I usually tell people at the end of that, it's like, listen, if there's some areas that you don't understand or you didn't have an answer for in that, reach out to me and we'll go into more detail about it, or we'll identify somebody that you can talk with to be able to have that conversation. And I think that is something that, again, we kind of just handed it out a lot of times to folks. And I think this year we're going to do more of a workshop around that to help them fill it out and get it done.
Well, there's just getting this information out is so critical because people don't know. Okay. And then unfortunately, there are still professionals out there that are giving bad advice. Okay. Like for instance, um, there's a lot of people who, and I've run into people that believed this, and I just found out there's actually some attorneys that are still promoting this. But a lot of people were for a while were they were mom, grandma, or granddad were getting divorced because they were trying to do it to save one of them from going bankrupt to get the other one covered in a nursing home or whatever this, like in a skilled living.
Hmm.
And so they felt like they had to be poor to qualify for Medicare. And what they don't understand is, first of all, it's a felony to do that. Okay, you're actually, doing something very, very wrong. But during the Reagan administration, they fixed that. Okay, but for
Right.
40 some years, people still believe that's the case. Okay, and so obviously word doesn't get out real well sometimes. But the community spouse, in other words, the person still living at home that's healthier, they can take all the entire proceeds of all the assets from the person that's going into an institution and being into a skilled living and transfer that to the family, to this community spouse, and they're immediately covered, they're immediately qualified for Medicaid to get paid, and they don't bankrupt the spouse, but people don't know that. But again, that's why I'm a big advocate of elder law, because they
Yeah,
can.
no, exactly. And
Yeah.
I've made a lot of friends with those elder law attorneys, again, because um, they're busy
Right.
and with a lot of things. And it's you want to find the right fit for a person
Right.
as you work around that with them. And I've kind of found that as their business gets busier, they don't network as much as they should. So
Correct. Yeah. So you
I'm
have to kind of get
always
to know them.
I'm
Yeah.
always finding the younger ones. It seems like to be able to work with as we go through. But what my loved ones need to know is a great tool. We offer that
Do you
in a
teach
hard.
classes? Do you do that as one of your events?
Yeah, we're going to do that coming up this year. It'll probably be July or August. That's typically when we kind of carve it out for that time frame, and we'll do it in November as well, because we want to kind of get people in a position for that they can fill it out themselves, and I make it available for folks for free, but it's really kind of designed to help them answer the questions of all the important information and final wishes in one place. So there's a planning overview. You can get your personal information in there, your legal and financial information, any online accounts, memberships, and social networking that you do. Those are big things. I mean, I've gone through Facebook as I've been kind of scrolling through on something and look at a person. I'm like, yeah, I don't think that person's around anymore. I think they passed maybe last year. And those are some things that probably the password or how that account was set up was lost whenever they passed away. There's nobody that can kind of go in there and turn that off. So those are some that we want to include. What to do with your pets,
Right.
your dog or your cats, or what are some of the things that you can do with them. Those are some areas that you have that we've been able to pull in here. Retirement assets and those things that really all kind of sets the table for the elder law attorneys on some things. But again, there's a lot of information in there that people can fill out. Use it as a checklist. Use it to the next time you're sitting down with mom and dad, and you can say, "Hey, what's that you're looking at?" It's like, "Oh, it's this book called What My Loved Ones Need to Know." It talks about all the stuff that I need to have my affairs in order. Really? Well, and I was like, well, here's a question here. Like, what would you do and how would we put this together? Do you have this in place right now? Well, no, I don't. Well, let's talk about that. And it
Right.
really does set the table for that. So
Well,
I
yeah,
usually do that talk and then I have the elder law attorney come in right
right.
after me. That's really where it kind of sets it up. I'm just
So
looking
do
at
you
it
have a
too.
place where people can go and see what your upcoming schedule is, or?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to my website, which is Elkin Financial, all one word, elkinfinancial.com, you can see all of the resources and everything that we've talked about here. That site has been something that we retooled last year. We've kind of set it up to be able to see the events that we've got. So if you click on the events button that is on that, you'll be able to see all of those things that we have scheduled and registered for those. There's a blog series that we do monthly. There's an email that you can sign up for that's out there. with different resources that we have is that legal planning guide, which we call what my loved ones need to know. And then there's an annual enrollment planning guide that can kind of get you set up with information about what we would need to know to help you with your Medicare decision. So those are some of the resources that we have. But again, that's at elkinfinancial.com.
Is it an S in it or just regular?
Nope, no
Elkin or
S.
Elkins?
There's no S on my name. It's
Okay.
elkinfinancial.com.
I didn't know if it had your as a what do you call it?
Mm-hmm.
If you as a I own it type thing.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I just wanted to see if I could pull it up here real quick. All right, very good. All right. Well, I was going to say this again. This is what I was trying to get out here, just to let people know that you're out here, not only what you do professionally, but what you're doing as a kind of a well, it's kind of like I see Life's Copilot as a gift to the community. Okay, that's
Right.
because
Yep.
I'm not making a dime on this thing, but it's but it never will. Um, but it is designed to. I was for 20 years the only sibling that stayed in the state, so I was taking care of my in-laws, my parents, my uncle, downsizing them, doing all these different aging related things, and I thought I knew stuff
Mm-hmm.
because of those 20 years. And I actually believed that I knew what I was doing. Okay. And then I got into this profession and started meeting all you people. And I walked away going, I don't know anything. And why didn't somebody tell me? And where were these people? And why didn't they let me know? Type thing, right? And I have found it's very difficult to put all that information in one spot, okay,
Right.
that you can go to as a trusted resource. That's really what Life's Copilot's about. We have a for people to access we have done two of these expert panels every month since sometime in 2020, and so there's a big library in there in that YouTube. In fact, it's so big that my Let's Copilot website is a cheap website, and it crashes on your phone because there's too much data in it, so it just gives up.
Yeah.
So YouTube is available to go in and see all of these that go back for 5 years. So it's or maybe longer. So it's a place to get for people to get. And I know that myself and I like I said, I see the realtor on here, I see different ones. If you have a client that has a need and they need to know about a Miller's Trust, well, we can go in and get, Jeff Stinson or Rebecca Geyer or whatever that are in that thing, different elder law attorneys, and they can explain it to you, or whatever it is. That video is there in the library, So that's the kind of stuff that we're trying to do. I celebrate anyone like yourself that's doing this as well and
Yeah.
carrying that torch because it needs to be more of us.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree. And I one of the things that with the networking group that we have, I really do enjoy. We meet every Wednesday. We've talked about other things that we can do in the community to be able to make the services that we have more available to folks. We think that some of the like the SACOAs and some of the other organizations that are there, we can coach them on how they can improve um, some of the services that they're providing to the community because they kind of get isolated sometimes in just one demographic. And it's like, no, no, no. What we're seeing is that the more planning that folks do, the better everybody's going to be on that. And that's an area that we're unique with Indianapolis in the fact that we have the Marion County and the surrounding counties that are participating in this. We got the state all right here, and then we've got all these services. So I'm actually working with an organization out in Idaho called Learn Idaho, and we want to bring some of the concepts that they have. They're in a very similar situation. Boise, Idaho is the capital of that, and Learn has kind of grown up out of that, and it's continuing education for people that are all the groups that we've talked about tonight that we are members of that can participate together and learn from each other and start to expand those services out so that the people that we're um, meeting with our customers our prospects can get this access to that information and be able to work with more people because the more folks that we have who are informed and educated, the better that retirement's going to be for them, the healthier lifestyle that they're going to be able to lead with this. And that's really, from my standpoint, something that um, uh, I'm living it with my dad right now. I want him to be, and his 83rd birthday is coming up here in March. I want him to be mobile and outgoing and in the community, not just, that old adage of, hey, I turned 63, I'm going to sit here and just wither away for the next 16 to 20 years. I want him to be able to get out and live all that life has. And retirement is just one of those special times that you got 6 Saturdays and a Sunday. So let's go.
Yeah.
Um, and it really does. I think we are able to put them in a position that they can live their best life from that point.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing with us today. I think this was phenomenal. I will put your website on the thing when it goes out on the program. You'll get a
Okay.
copy of this. You can use any way you want. Okay, so but
Sweet.
this will also be on, just so everybody else knows, it will also be on Life's Copilot's YouTube page. It'll be archived there as well, that people can always come back and find it. So, and if you want to find it there as well. So we'll
Nice.
go from there. Well, I'm sure I'll see you soon. When's your next event?
Next event is tomorrow. It's going to be at Centerwell College Park, which is off of 82nd Street there near Michigan Road. And we will be doing a Medicare and meatballs. So we'll have a Medicare 101 with some heavy hors d'oeuvres.
Very good.
Should
And
be
when is
fun.
that? What time?
Starts at 6:30
PM.
p.m.
All right. Good to see you, Mike. See you later.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. Take care.
Yeah,
Bye bye.
bye-bye.